Hello, everybody. Welcome to Digital Energy, where we talk about Bitcoin, other digital assets, and the incredible crypto revolution that's sweeping the globe. Today, we're going to be talking about the Bitcoin price action over the past week and the slow grind higher that we've seen, and whether or not we think that the bottom is in and that we're going to move higher from here. I believe that we are, at least in the immediate short term, and I'll share with you a few reasons why. Bitcoin's been on an extended downtrend over the last 3 months. We can see from about the middle of November, and I think that this trend line that I've drawn in here, is important to look at. And what we see is that the Bitcoin price about a week ago, on January 24th, shot down to just above 33,000 and then immediately rebounded. And ever since then, we've just had this slow, kind of steady grind higher. And you can see that right now the Bitcoin price is banging its head right against that downtrend line. And this leads me to believe that we're at a decision point in the market. If we can see Bitcoin break through that line and essentially flip that downtrend line and create, instead of a resistance, but a floor, then I do think you're going to see Bitcoin rise in the immediate short term and get up into the $42,000 to $44,000 range. Because that is the next level of resistance that we see. Now, why do I think that? Why wouldn't I think that maybe it will bounce its head against this line and then just move downward? Well, I'm looking at a few indicators, some on-chain data, and other things that lead me to this conclusion. The first thing that I'm looking at is some of the big money, the smart money, if you will. What we're seeing is the whales, and a whale is defined as someone who holds anywhere from 100 to 10,000 Bitcoin. What we're seeing there is that they are accumulating. This is a graph that shows that the black line is the actual price of Bitcoin, and the red line is the amount of accumulation, or the amount of Bitcoin that the whales are holding. And you can see that ever since about the beginning of January, the whales are accumulating. They're using this downtrend as an opportunity to pick up more, to accumulate more. And we see that in some of the anecdotal evidence as well. Today, MicroStrategies announced that they have bought an additional 660 Bitcoin for roughly $25 million in cash. If you know anything about MicroStrategy, you know that it's the first publicly traded company that has adopted a Bitcoin strategy for its corporate treasury to combat inflation. And Michael Saylor, the CEO of MicroStrategy, has not been shy at all in letting people know that their company will continue to buy Bitcoin. They will accumulate it as the price drops. They will accumulate it as the price goes up, and they plan never to sell. So what we're seeing is some of the big money, some of the smart money is accumulating, and that leads me to believe that the price will continue to go higher, because as these big money players buy, some of the big money players that are sitting on the sidelines, I think, are going to step in and not want to miss the opportunity to buy at these lower prices. Another metric that I'm looking at that's compelling is the exchange reserve. The exchange reserve graph is a graph that shows the amount of Bitcoin that is remaining on the public exchanges for trading. And what we're seeing is that exchange reserve is at the lowest point that it's been in nearly 3 years. What does that mean? What it means is that as people are accumulating Bitcoin, they're immediately moving some or all of it to cold wallets off the exchanges. And when they move it off the exchange, of course, that lowers the supply that's available to be traded on the exchange. And of course, the laws of supply and demand dictate that if supply is low and there's some demand, that the price is going to rise. So low supply with the demand, I think, leads to higher prices. The third factor that I'm looking at is the fact that some of the shorter term indicators are turning positive or bullish for the first time in nearly 3 months, since about the middle of December. If we go to the 4-hour chart, what we see here is a bullish indicator. This is an indicator called the Ichimoku cloud, and if you're familiar with this indicator, it's an indicator that will signal a strong buy once 4 different metrics are all simultaneously occurring. And the first is that this cloud is green. We can see that in the 4-hour chart, the cloud did turn green. The second indicator we look for is that the shorter term average, the blue line, is above the red line. We have that. We are also looking for a bar that closes above the cloud. And we've had a number of closes, but the last indicator wasn't present until just 4 hours ago, and that is that the lagging indicator, the lagging close indicator, must be above the cloud. Now we see that. We have a lagging indicator close above the cloud. We have a bar that closed above the cloud. We have a blue line indicator above the red, and we have a green cloud. And again, that is the first time that has happened on the 4-hour chart since about December 20th. This tells me that it's much more likely that we're going to see this price action break through this downward trend line and flip on top of it, and then that will become an area of support, and we will see a rise after that, I believe, up into the $42,000 to $43,000 range for Bitcoin. So let me know what your thoughts are about the price action in Bitcoin. Is there some other indicator that we should have looked at? Are you bullish? Are you bearish? If you're bearish, why are you? Love to see those comments below. Of course, could be totally wrong. As Yogi Berra once said, predictions are tricky things, especially the ones about the future. So, we make our decisions based upon the best data that we can look at. We make a decision that has conviction. As always, have a plan just in case you're wrong. Thanks for joining us here today on Digital Energy. If you like the content, please like, subscribe, click the bell icon, and leave a comment. This is Brett with Digital Energy reminding you, don't trade emotionally and protect yourself out there.